Daniel, otherwise known as Fatso around here, and this is a Azimuth SIx video tutorial. I'm going to talk to you about effective website design. So this pertains to both user experience and I'm going to tie in a little bit of SEO into it. So both things are obviously correlated. So let's dive right in. Okay, so first thing I'm going to talk about is heat mapping and F pattern. Heat mapping is essentially the study of how people view your website when they're on it. So let's dive into this. So there you go, there's your web page right there. And heat mapping is when they check out where people are looking. So if you were to look at a heat map of where people are looking at a web page, typically you'd see a lot of the red areas here and about here, this area here. Not so much down here and not so much here and in these areas. So that's important to know because that means that you want to put your most important information here so that people know exactly what your website's about, what you're talking about, and you want to emphasize that. So studying heat mapping is a pretty basic concept, but it really lets you know where people are looking at the website and where you should put things that you want to emphasize. So in addition to heat mapping, we have the F pattern. So that kind of plays into this. F pattern, just like it looks like an F, is how people perceive your website. So you can see the F there through the red, I hope. And so that's one way people do it. We read right to left, and so you have the content here, here, and here. So that's the F pattern. That's what people are looking at as well. And so that's where you want to emphasize your key points, especially like on your home page or something like that. So that's F pattern. Next thing I want to talk about is the sales funnels. So the question you want to ask is, how are you going to get people to do what you want them to do? Whether it be to buy something, whether it be to sign on or sign up or something like that. So you want to have effective sales funnels throughout your website, which get people to do what you want them to do. So don't assume that people are going to know what to do when they get to their website already. You have to tell them. So it has to be easy to get to, it has to be clear. So that's what the sales funnels are for. You say, I want to get them to sign up for this thing, sign up here. You want to get them to buy your products, buy your product. You want to make it visible, clear, easy to navigate. So that's kind of how sales funnels go. Calls to action, the next thing here. Calls to action are essentially text on your web page that tells people what you're going to do. So this kind of ties into sales funnels as well. So words like learn more or sign up or call now, etc. Those kind of things, those are calls to action, telling people what to do. Instead of just merely ending a paragraph about what you're doing, tell them afterwards, sign up now, call us now, tell them exactly what you want them to do at the point, and then make it easy for them to do that. So communicate directly to them. So let's talk a little bit about the layout of your website. So we have a couple points here. Organize, communicate, and economize. So layout, organize. Provide the user with easy navigation. So this means not inundating people with a ton of information, try to make them think that they're going to take it all in. People aren't going to read everything on your website. They're just going to make assumptions of what's important and they're going to go after that. So you also have to make assumptions of what they're going to read and what you think is important about your product or service and emphasize that. So that's the easy navigation. Make things clear and easy to get to and not a ton of information that's irrelevant. So next thing, communicate. We have legibility, make things very clear. The text, typography, color, typography. They say you probably shouldn't use more than 3 different types of fonts on a page just to keep a clean look. And then color. Do some study into psychology of colors and how that pertains to what your product or service is. There's actually some pretty interesting stuff there, psychology of color. So again, kind of make it clean, make it easy on the user. Economize, so emphasizing the most important elements for your user. So things like bolding or like a nice window with content that is the most important for them. So you kind of decide what you want that is most important for the end user, and then you emphasize those points while following these other rules here, while keeping it clean. So that's the thing. And then over here we have content, which is always huge. You've probably heard content is king. So more studies suggest, this especially pertains to blogs, that design is less of a factor than quality content. So if you're providing people with good, solid information, with lots of specifics, lots of details, they're more likely to stay on your web page longer, and they're more likely to trust you. So, and that's part of establishing yourself as an authority. So content is a huge part of web design. Obviously, that's everything that's in there. That's words, pictures, that kind of thing. So you want to make that very clear and really pin down good information that somebody's looking for, you know. So beyond that, you do testing and you do beta testing. So when you do testing, that means you're taking all this stuff and you're trying to see if it worked or not. You know, change one thing here, take a couple weeks, see if that checked out. Change another thing here, change this color, change that picture, change the font setting. Did that improve anything? Did that make things worse? Make note of everything that you change, and then you'll have a good idea of what's working, what's not. Good way of looking at that is the numbers in the analytics. Most people have Google Analytics. If you're not, you can check that out. I would strongly suggest putting that in your website, Google Analytics. That way you know where your traffic's flowing through. If you have weak areas, you know maybe there's some changes there, so you can concentrate on those. Beta testing. Beta testing is essentially going through your website when it's new, or anytime, and making sure everything works. Does this link click to the place it's supposed to? Is this link still active? Is this website that's off my website still work? That kind of thing. So going through everywhere, making sure it works, click your contact, that kind of thing, make sure everything works the way you want it to, and that it performs the way you want to, because if it doesn't, then your user is going to be turned off. So all these things have to work together to have an effective web design. So now I'm going to go to the computer and show you examples of good websites that utilize these things so that you can adapt them for your website. Thanks.
Hello, and welcome back. We are going to continue our discussion on effective website design on the computer here. So here I've outlined the things that we discussed earlier on the whiteboard, and I want to show you examples of websites that utilize these things pretty well so that you got an idea of what you want to do with your website or ways to improve your website. So we're going to go to heat mapping is what we discussed first. So this is a heat mapping example of Google on the search engine's result pages, and it gives you an idea of where people are looking. The red is the area with the most emphasis from the eye. So in the orange a little bit less, yellow less, so on and so forth. So you get a good idea of where people are looking, and you get a good idea for SEO value of ranking in this area. In addition to that, we discussed the F pattern. So you can kind of see the F pattern here where the red is, and you can get an idea of the layout of that. So you can visualize that and apply that to website design as well. So the next thing we're going to talk about is sales funnels. Hey. So we have shake weight, everybody's favorite exercise tool. So site's pretty simple, but what I want to call attention to is their sales funnels. Order now, right in front of you. It's pretty easy to do to understand what they're trying to get you to do, which is to order their product. And they have some basic information on what this thing does. Obviously, most people have seen it on TV, but making it to the website, they're making it really easy for you to take the next step, which is order this product. So next thing I want to talk about are calls to action. And this Disney website here has done a pretty good job of it. They have calls to action everywhere. Make your mark, enter now, create now, learn more movie fun, pre-order game, hear the signal. All these things that are kind of screaming out to the kid or the parent that's on there to tell them what they want them to do next in ways they can interact with this website. So Disney has done a good job of calls to action and kind of getting people involved in doing what they want them to do on the website. The next thing I want to talk about is layout, and I'm using Yahoo, which is one of the most popular websites. That's a landing page, not search engine, but a landing page. So Yahoo does a good job of the layout. So what we covered before is to organize, communicate, and economize. So organize, provide user with easy navigation, which Yahoo has done effectively here. Right down the left side here, the bar has all the different topics that somebody can research. So that's pretty easy to follow. So Yahoo's done a good job of that. Next thing is communicate. Everything's pretty legible, very clear. No crazy text. They used white colors. They haven't really put too many colors involved, but that kind of goes to their clean look. Their typography's all the same throughout, maybe some different sizes, but they're not confusing the viewer with multiple different types of font. And again, the color is white. And don't be afraid of white space. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing at all. It actually gives the user, allows them to do a couple things. Allows them to focus on what you want them to, and it doesn't distract them, and it gives them a break from thinking too much, or these psychological things that draw them off of the page. So the third thing under layout that I want to attract emphasis to is economize, emphasizing most important elements for user. So this window right in the middle here that moves with the pictures, superfans, amazing handmade costumes, that is the biggest thing that Yahoo's calling attention to. It's kind of where your eye is directed to automatically, as well as the side navigation bar here, and maybe some of these ads where they make their money at. But for the most part, they've done a good job of getting your attention where they want it. So the next thing I want to talk about is content. So this website here does a pretty good job of content. They have a ton of content on the home page. They got these nice drop-down menus here that have a ton of content as well. And this really allows these attorneys, it's an attorney website, to emphasize that they are authorities on the subject. They're not really trying to sell anything as much as they are just providing great information for somebody that might be considering an attorney. And having them trust them by providing them all this information allows them to communicate to the user that they're very knowledgeable. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm a great attorney, choose me, they're saying, this is why I'm a great attorney. So this website has done a great job of that, and I wanted to point those things out. Additionally, other things that we can look at from this website, kind of wrapping everything back together, is testing and beta testing. So testing these things out, the words on the page, the pictures, the layout, you can test these things to see if they're working. The way you do that is again through the analytics program to see what people are clicking through, etc. But we won't get too much into that. That's something else we can talk about on a later video. But beta testing would be going through and clicking everything, making sure it works. I would fill this out, submit it. I would click all these blogs here on the right and make sure they all link to the appropriate place. Maybe join the Twitter here. All these things that ensure that the user is getting the best experience and things are working the way they should on the website. So, heat mapping. This thing follows the rules of heat mapping. Kind of starts here, draws your attention here. The sales funnels are right there. Telephone number, contact information, calls to action, kind of wrapped into one. The layout's nice and clean, easy navigation. They've done a really good job with their space. The contact obviously is the emphasis here, and the content is awesome. So these are all things that are really good to kind of wrap things up with a website. Hopefully you got some good ideas for what you want to do with your website. Hope you learned something about effective website design. And as always, if you have any questions, my name's Daniel. Feel free to email me at dan@azimuth6.com. Thanks and have a great day.